almost half century on this planet, I have realized one thing. What I know is minuscule of what I don't know. Since 2006, I am researching on this concept of stress. I mean, what do you think? What is the meaning of the term stress? What do you think is the concept of the term stress? आपके हिसाब से stress क्या है?
It's a state where you are not very comfortable with your actions.
Where you are not very comfortable. Brilliant. Yes, please.
Something which strains your mind.
Something that strains your mind. Brilliant.
It's a state of restlessness.
State of restlessness, discomfort. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Accepting what the mind says.
Non-acceptance. Okay, alright. I am going to give you some information which is really going to shock you. And the reason why I have devoted 6 years of my life on this subject, and I am going to devote the rest of my life on this subject. Are you aware 65% of us suffer from stress, and those 35% are either yogics or they are sannyasis. Are you aware 85% of money that we spend on medicine is on account of stress? 85% of diseases are on account of stress. Diabetes, blood pressure, hypertension, paralysis, Alzheimer, all skin diseases, psoriasis, leukodystrophy. The root cause of all these diseases are stress. And we all feel, oh, stress is part of life. We all have accepted it as part of life. And that's the reason why 85% of diseases come to us. Alright. This workshop is basically 8-hour workshop. In corporate world, this workshop is done for 8 hours. Here, we have to do it in about hour and a half. So I will be taking more at a conceptual level than at the experiential level. Alright. Let's start this workshop by generating some small stress within us. How many squares do you see in this? 16? 17? How many squares do you see in this? 26? 16? 17? 21? 27? Yes? How many do you see? 17? 17. Come on, it's much more than that.
25,
22. 30. Come on, young man. You must be having a lot of lateral thinking. You would be the least stressed person. How many squares do you see? People with less stress will be able to give the answer very fast. And the answer is definitely much higher than 17. Much higher than 17. See, this shows how much stress we have. We have lost the simplicity of life. Haji, the one in the yellow, how many?
17 right now.
17 right now. Okay? Up? 7? I'm saying it is much more than 17. अरे भाई मैं बोल रहा हूँ 17 से बहुत ज़्यादा है. 21 से भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. Who said 27? 27 से भी ज़्यादा है. how much our hypothalamus is stressed?
It has a specific number.
Yes. Yes. And it's absolutely mathematical, huh? I'll prove it to you. Okay. How many of you feel it is less than 20? How many of you feel less than 20? Okay. Highly stressed people. How many of you feel it is between 20 and 25? Moderately stressed people. How many of you feel more than 25? And you will count up. You guys are doing very well in life. Very little amount of stress. Who sees 30? You also see 30? देखो हाथ खड़ा मत कर दो हाँ. You may have to come and count. 30? You also see 30? The right answer is 30. Let's have a big clap for this guy. Come. Least stressed. And because his mind is least stressed, his mind is very productive. What did you feel when you were doing this exercise? What feelings came to you when you were doing this? And be honest. Okay? What else?
I think that line confused.
That line confused? Okay. Must have been kept deliberately.
I was thinking why is there a line?
What? You were thinking, why is there a line? Okay.
We're just concentrating on counting as well, so we better.
Fine. What I'm saying is, what did you feel? People with high levels of stress will always find faults with the whole thing. The negative orientation towards life eventually puts us in the high stress zone. And I just wanted to demonstrate it to you. See this boy. He was so free. He was so relaxed. His body language was so relaxed. 70% of you right now have very rigid body language. Very stressed body language. Q. Because there is something that is happening in our hypothalamus. And we need to understand that. Okay? How many of you are working here? Okay? I mean, not here, not in Kevalyadhama, but generally. I mean, how many of you are working in corporate world or companies or how many of you have your own business? Okay. See, we have less time, so I would not want to take the stress test for you. If we would have done this stress test, you would have actually known where you stand. But take down the YouTube address. On this address, there is a video which will enable you to take the stress test. I would recommend all of you, before you come for tomorrow's lecture, you take this stress test. Please understand, this is only the diagnostic test. And you don't need to feel critical about it. In the year 2000, when I was the CEO of the company, and when I took this test, I fell in the highest category of stress. I would expect, or I would request you to take this test today at home before you come for tomorrow's lecture. And please then share it with Mr. Dikshit or whomsoever is on the podium. What was your score? And I can tell you, those who were below 20 would be in high stress zone. Those between 20 and 25 would be in moderately stress zones. And each one of you have taken the incubators? All of you have taken?
One second.
Dikshit आपके पास है? In the video, the interpretation is also there. Okay, it's a complete test. All right. Let's now start getting into the nitty-gritty of stress. What is the meaning of the term stress? Someone said discomfort, someone said non-acceptable, someone said something that is straining me. In 1970, McGrath, the famous psychologist, gave the exact definition of the term stress. He said, a person experiences stress when situation is perceived as presenting demand which threatens to exceed person's capabilities and resources of meeting it. मतलब जब कोई सिचुएशन लाइफ में आती है and you think you do not have capability to meet that demand is the time you feel stressed. बॉस ने बोला ये फाइल कल शाम तक क्लियर करनी है and you know you have your wife's birthday, so you are not going to have time, which means the resources or the ability is not there to meet that demand and you get stressed. The most important aspect of this definition, stress is not absolute. Stress is relative. A person who lost a son, there are two fathers, both the fathers have lost son, say almost at the same time. One father is highly stressed because the son was very nice, very obedient, he was doing everything. And the second son was vagabond and the father was sick of him. The element of stress would be different for different persons. So situation may be same. For example, if the room temperature, how many of you are right now feeling that the room is warm? Okay? How many of you are feeling that the room is comfortable? How many of you are feeling that the room is little cold? A person with hypothyroid will feel that the room is little cold. A person with hyperthyroid or high BP will feel that the room is relatively warm. And a person in peak of the health, the body transmitters, thermostats, they automatically adjust. So, it is not the situation or it is not the physical demand that creates the stress, but it is your perception of that situation and your perception of meeting it will create the stress.
So you mean to say the stress starts from your mind?
Yes, I come to that. The root cause of stress is person's fear of failure. Whenever you have a fear of failure, that's the starting point of stress. From the environment, there are a lot of stimuli that keep coming to you. There are a lot of demands that keep coming to you. That stimuli is called stressor. In Ayurveda, it is called klesha. K-L-E-S-H-A, klesha. There can be various types of klesha. there can be various type of situation which can be creating this element of stress. So a stressor can come from environment, a stressor can be physical or mental, a stressor creates different perception to different people, and we will come to sympathetic and non-sympathetic part a little later. During my research, this was one of the biggest discoveries that I did. A stressor can be one big event or can be cumulative small events. The impact of that on the brain can be same. Let me explain this to you. Assuming that you are a manager in a company and you have to take decision every day. Just this morning, as you were about to go to the office, your wife serves you the notice of divorce. And she says, I cannot stay with you anymore. And she walks off. Now in that state of mind, you have come to the office. And your assistant comes with a proposal which requires your approval. What will be your general reaction? Your general reaction will be the reaction of a stressed person. This is one big event. The second example is, the first was your wife serving you the divorce, that's separate. Now, the second event, second scenario, you got up and while you were getting down from the bed, you slipped. There was some water and you slipped and you sprained your ankle. Your wife cooked the breakfast that you don't like at all. वैसा ब्रेकफास्ट बनाया जो आपको बिल्कुल ही पसंद नहीं है. आप नीचे उतरे, देखा तो आपके कार का टायर पंक्चर है. So you again call the mechanic. The mechanic came, he fixed the tire. There was a huge traffic jam on the way. You came to your office building. There was no parking. So in that scorching sun, you had to go around trying to find the parking slot. Your office is on the 12th floor and the lift is not working. So you walked up the office. Your boss was exactly there at the door of the office. And he said, Mr. Patel, do you know what time it is right now? You are 2 hours late. And now you go to the desk and your assistant comes with the proposal. What will be your reaction? The reaction of a stressed person. Someone asked me, is it combination of external stimuli and internal perception? This exactly explains you that. You have physical thing or reality happening to you, work, changes in life, relationship difficulties, financial problems, so on and so forth. Your child is in the hospital. This alone cannot create stress. It is also your conditioning of the mind that creates stress. Whether you are able to accept the reality, whether you are a pessimist by nature, whether you have habit of finding faults with everything, whether your expectations are unrealistic. So stress is always combination of environment and condition of the mind. The types of external stresses could be political environment, technological environment. For example, how many of you are in BPO industry? Is anyone of there in BPO industry? Brilliant. In fact, since last 1 year, I get maximum patients from BPO industries. For the simple reason that a lot of BPOs are winding up in India. That means at the end of 4 months, 5 months, you may be jobless. Because technologically, they find China more suitable. So they want to outsource now to China. Something that has happened at a technological level and created stress for you. Economical environment, recession. Are you aware? The antidepressant pharmaceutical companies are doubling their turnover every year since last 5 years. Because of the economic recession, everyone is in stress. You have physical environment that causes stress, the comfort levels, the social environment. So in fact, I must give you an example of one of the patients. This girl, she comes from an Orthodox Brahmin family. Uska family, Orthodox Brahmin family hai. And she wanted her career in hairstyling. उस लड़की को she wanted to become the hairstylist. She was very passionate about it. I mean, that was her dream. Now the family does not allow. बाल काटना is a very unauspicious thing. Family was not allowing, society was not allowing, community was not allowing, and this girl at the age of 22 went into huge depression. Social environment, organizational environment. Your boss is too tough. Role clarity नहीं है, role ambiguity है, and major life events. Your child is in hospital. Your mother is sick. Your wife just delivered a baby. Huge stress. Internal stressors, your own conditioning of mind and your own lifestyle. Addiction. दोपहर को 3 बजे चाय चाहिए यानी चाय चाहिए ही चाहिए. अगर 3 बजा और चाय नहीं मिली, बाप रे, दुनिया उल्टी की पुल्टी. 7 बजे पेट चाहिए ही चाहिए. अब 7 बजे अगर पेट नहीं मिला, can you imagine what that person undergoes? Huge element of stress. Sleep patterns. इतना हम काम में बिजी हैं कि हम सो ही नहीं पा रहे. Huge stress. Negative self-talk. मेरे साथ तो कभी कुछ अच्छा हो ही नहीं सकता. The whole world is my enemy. Oh, this lecture is so boring. Your own internal stress. Mind traps. Unrealistic expectation. मैं घर पे पहुंचूं तो मेरे को चाय की प्याली मिलनी ही चाहिए. अरे यार, there can be possibility where नहीं मिल सकती. You don't accept. And the attitude to become a perfectionist. मैं ये नहीं कहता कि perfectionist बनना बुरा है. But when you are obsessed with being perfectionist, that itself is a huge internal stress. Now, again, lot of development has happened in last 3 years. All stress is not bad. There is some stress which is good for you, which actually is healthy for you. And I will also explain this back to you through the curve. So that stress which motivates you to work or which motivates you towards the goal is called eustress. This stress is extremely healthy for you. And the stress is called distress. ये सारी चीजें मैं आपको अगले 10 मिनट में डायग्राम से समझाऊंगा. So when you will go out of this room, you will be very clear. Distress is not good for you. So distress can be a general stress, which can be routine, छोटी छोटी. Like हर इंसान को, हर मर्दों को दाढ़ी करना is big boring thing. हर रोज जब भी दाढ़ी करनी पड़ती है, there is an element of stress. Small, routine. Acute stress. इंटरव्यू के जाने के पहले शॉर्ट टर्म. या जब भी मैं स्पीच देता हूं, मेरी पहली 5 मिनट इज एक्यूट स्ट्रेस. कितना ऑडियंस यॉन करेगा, कितना ऑडियंस इधर उधर उधर देखेगा, कितना ऑडियंस हल्ला करेगा. So even after giving thousands of lectures, first 5 minutes I am acutely stressed, and then I slowly relax. Now the stress which creates health problems are chronic stress, which is long term and continuous, as well as post traumatic stress. आपके जीवन में एक ट्रॉमा घटा और उसकी जो आफ्टर इफेक्ट है, there are two stresses which is extremely dangerous for your health. That is chronic stress, which is long term continual presence of external stressor, and long term stress triggered by specific unpleasant traumatic episode. इंसान को हार्ट अटैक दे देता है, इंसान को पैरालिटिकल स्ट्रोक दे देता है, इंसान को ब्लड प्रेशर दे देता है. This is very interesting. Now, assuming that you start with inactive state, the rust out state, when you have no activity, slowly you have some goals for you. Slowly you start getting into the rhythm of doing something. So from the rust out state, you go to the state of stimulation. From that you go to the state of being creative. From being creative you become effective, and you reach a state of optimal stress. When you reach optimal stress, you are at the peak of your health and you are at your peak performance. बट जब आप स्ट्रेस को ऑप्टिमल लेवल से भी ज्यादा ले लेते हो, दैट इज द टाइम द बैड स्ट्रेस स्टार्ट्स. योर एफिशिएंसी रिड्यूसेस, योर अलर्टनेस रिड्यूसेस, you have difficulty in concentration, you become irritable, you become anxious, you become fatigued, and you get into GAD, that is general anxiety disorder or depression. So when you started with inactivity. That motivated you to the optimal stress. But from optimal stress, when you came down to the anxiety and disorganization, that's the time the problem started. And you get into general anxiety disorder or you get into depression. And 85% of our diseases are result of general anxiety disorder. I will explain it to you biologically how that happens. In the year 1908, Yerkes and Dobson, for which they won the Nobel Prize, they gave this graph. Imagine this was done almost 100 years back by famous psychologists Yerkes and Dobson. What they said is, on x-axis you have performance, on y-axis you have stress, and on z-axis you have illness or you have health. And it says, at the poor performance when you had zero stress, you have high element of illness. अगर दिन भर कुछ काम ही नहीं करना है तो इंसान क्या करेगा? पक जाएगा. All psychological problems will start. मेरे रूम में कुछ मुझे दिख रहा है. काम करना चालू करो, रूम में कुछ नहीं दिखना चालू होगा. And when you are at the optimal level of stress, that is when you have maximum performance. And then when you start on the distress, you come to the poor performance and you come to the high level of illness. 65% of us are somewhere here. 65% of us are somewhere here. Let me now explain this to you from the biological perspective as to what exactly happens when you are stressed and how your body starts getting affected. Whenever there is a demand or whenever there is a threat that comes from the environment, hypothalamus becomes very active. So hypothalamus secretes CRH, which then goes to pituitary gland, which secretes ACTH. ACTH goes to adrenal gland secretes cortisol, and this cortisol is the most khatarnak chemical of the body. And this cortisol puts you in the high state of alertness. Why I am doing so much of talking? Even I need some rest. So why don't you see this video, which will explain everything to you.
The stress response. In stressful situations, the body switches on its autonomic nervous system and neurobiological processes in an attempt to maintain homeostasis. The body is prepared for its reaction to stress. In the brain, the hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus, stimulated by the sympathetic nervous system, releases the hormone corticotrophin-releasing factor, CRF. The CRF activates the pituitary gland to release the adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. This in turn alerts the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are located on top of each kidney. The ACTH from the pituitary gland stimulates the adrenal cortex to release cortisol. At the same time, neurons in the hypothalamus signal the medulla to release epinephrine, adrenaline, and norepinephrine, noradrenaline. These hormones then push the body into hyperalertness.
If you don't understand anything of this lecture, no harm done. But please understand this slide. If you understand this slide, it will be extremely beneficial to you. So when a stressor comes to you, सबसे पहले जो एलिमेंट अफेक्ट होता है वो हाइपोथैलेमस. हाइपोथैलेमस CRH सीक्रेट करता है, वो जाता है पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड में. पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड is the mother of all glands. It controls function of each and every gland. जैसे पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड बिगड़ी कि pineal gland बिगड़ती है, pineal gland controls the body rhythm. Thyroid gland बिगड़ती है, that controls the metabolism. Thymus gland बिगड़ती है, that controls the immune system. Adrenal gland बिगड़ती है, that controls your heart and your blood pressure. Pancreas बिगड़ता है, that controls the insulin. Ovary और testis बिगड़ती है, the reproductive system. Which means the moment you are faced with stress, your entire endocrinial system goes for a toss. And this is the reason why we get diseased, and 85% of diseases come from stress. पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड बिगड़ी, मान लीजिए उसकी इफेक्ट आपकी आई पैंक्रियास पर, पैंक्रियास बिगड़ा, यानी बॉडी has stopped producing adequate quantity of insulin. Insulin बिगड़ा, your blood sugar level goes up. This is known as diabetes. Pituitary gland बिगड़ी, it goes and affects adrenal gland. Adrenal gland releases cortisol. जैसे cortisol release हुआ कि आपका ब्लड प्रेशर हाई हो गया, जैसे आपका ब्लड प्रेशर हाई हो गया कि आपका हार्ट के ऊपर तकलीफ, all your cardiac issues. Are you now understanding what I was trying to tell you? This is the reason why 85% of diseases get attributed to HPA, which is hypothalamus pituitary adrenal system. When it affects heart, it gives you problem of blood pressure and cardiac issues. When it affects stomach, your acidity goes for a toss, which gives you cancer, which gives you ulcer, which gives you tumors. If it affects your pancreas and liver, it gives you metabolism problems and it gives you blood sugar problems. We have done this ECG of the same person when he was in stress and when he was happy. This is the ECG of the same person. See what happens when he was in stress. Look at his ECG. His ECG is so erratic. And look at his ECG when he is happy. It is so smooth. Imagine what happens to your body when you are stressed. This is one slide where I have my copyright, and this is taught now in all medical schools while they teach on psychiatry and they teach on stress. We have autonomous system. Autonomous system is basically which controls your entire life activities. Autonomous systems are of two types. One is, this is a little technical, just bear with me for 2 minutes. After that I'll show you some nice video, so you'll enjoy. But I need to emphasize this to you. You have parasympathetic nervous system and you have sympathetic nervous system. So this is sympathetic nervous system, which is basically the adrenal and the hypothalamus. This gets activated when you face threat. For example, इस वक्त अगर एक बहुत बड़ा आवाज आता है और ये रूम में सारा धुआं हो जाता है, and you see some fans falling and all that, what will you do? All of you will beat PT Usha. Within 2 minutes, you all will be outside this building. जो आदमी यहाँ लकड़ी के सहारे से आया है ना, वो भी 2 मिनट में रूम के बाहर होगा. Why? Because your sympathetic nervous system releases hormones which enables you to do that. So that is a response to threat. Now you also have something else which is called parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes the state of relaxation. जब तक sympathetic nervous system पैरासिम्पैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम से नीचे है, तब तक आप हेल्दी हो. जिस दिन, the day your sympathetic nervous system exceeds parasympathetic nervous system, you get into bad stress and you get into all health complications. in the body? मैंने ये सवाल अब तक 50,000 डॉक्टरों को किया है. आपने देखा एड्रिनल ग्लैंड कहाँ है? You have seen it in the video. It is on the top of kidneys. And where is your hypothalamus? It is in your brain. भगवान ने एड्रिनल ग्लैंड को किडनी के ऊपर क्यों रखा? If it is so important and if it is so much for your life, why it is not in the brain? Why adrenal gland is in the kidney? I have asked this question to 50,000 doctors and no one has able to answer this. भगवान भी आपको कहना चाहता है कि stress is wasteful for you. And kidney basically removes the waste from your body. So it is God's way of telling you कि ज्यादा cortisol produce मत करो. Cortisol is not required for you. You will be surprised. I have patients who are 7 years old with very high levels of cortisol. बेचारे को स्कूल में कोई भी फंक्शन हुआ तो उस बच्चे को स्टेज परफॉर्मेंस देना ही देना है, पोएट्री सुनाना ही है. Have you ever understood what would be the element of stress that must be going on to that child's mind when he has to face that audience? अच्छों की हवा निकल जाती है when you have to face the audience. And that 4-year kid is expected to give brilliant performance in front of the audience. Imagine what must be happening to his cortisol levels. अगर बच्चा करता है तो करता है, let him enjoy. Don't force him into it. Imagine what happens to his cortisol levels. Sympathetic nervous system produces the most dangerous chemical required for our survival called cortisol. And parasympathetic nervous system produces hormone called serotonin, endorphin, norepinephrine, which basically promotes the level of relaxation. So biologically speaking, अगर cortisol का production सेरोटोनिन के प्रोडक्शन से ज्यादा है तो you are going to be in a state of stress and all that diseases will come to you. If your serotonin production is more than cortisol production, which will always be before this point, you will be in that state of relaxation. I promised you that I will show you some nice video. Here what has done was एकदम फिट इंसान को लिया गया था, उसके बॉडी के अंदर सारे इक्विपमेंट्स बिठाए गए थे and he was made to participate in the bull run. How many of you have seen this movie जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा? उसमें they participate in that bull run. Spain. The same bull run, this guy was made to participate to understand what happens to the body, क्यों cortisol बनता है और body क्यों cortisol बनाता है. So this video will show you that and will compare it to our modern life of a vice president of a multinational company.
The challenge is to get as close to a charging bull as possible. Every year, people are trampled or gored, and sometimes killed. Andy started the bull run for the adrenaline high. Now, he's racing for his life. The bulls, also highly charged, get ever more ferocious. They're just inches away. Andy's mouth swab is showing a sharp rise in stress hormones. His adrenal gland is pumping out hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Within seconds, they flood his body, causing a massive increase in heart rate. From a normal resting rate of 72 beats per minute, Andy's heart rate rockets to an amazing 230. As blood surges to Andy's brain and muscles, he experiences a high of alertness. He can think and move faster than ever before. Andy survives this Pamplona bull run unscathed.
Definitely in fear. You're definitely in fear. You can feel the stomp of the feet and the hooves and everything. It's wow. It's incredible.
The stress response probably saved Andy's life. But turn it on hour after hour, day after day, and the effects can be fatal. The demands of modern life leave many of us chronically stressed. Over time, the powerful stress hormones cripple our immune system and put pressure on our hearts. Stress can kill us, slowly, silently, secretly. Jude Meadows knows how devastating it can be. As vice president of a multinational corporation, Jude had a demanding job and a tough schedule.
When I look back, I realised that I actually really had no idea just how stressed out I was, and I think I'd become so used to functioning like that and essentially functioning on my adrenaline that it actually became the norm. I just didn't know any different.
But while Jude felt she was thriving under pressure, her body was silently breaking down. She was finding it hard to sleep and was suffering from dangerously high blood pressure.
My body had just absolutely had enough. I'd had enough warning signals about it, and now was really the time to do something about it.
Stress is like flooring the accelerator at a stoplight. Revving the body up for a life or death struggle or a frantic escape. Once it saved us from predators. But today, our predators are thoughts. Worries that are real or imagined. The job, the mortgage, the divorce. Predators chase you for 30 seconds. Damaging thoughts can prey on you for years.
I was working crazy hours every night during the weekend and weekends as well. And when you do that, you know, you have to question, well, one, where's your life? Hi, Jude Meadows speaking. But also, you know, how productive are you really going to be? Because at some point in time, you're going to burn out. You have to.
This lady was suffering from a very high blood pressure and she was on the verge of collapse. And she was the case study which was taken for this entire thing. Highly stressful person. This girl could not sleep in the night. She would only sleep about 3 hours every night. How many of you have read this book, Monk Who Sold Ferrari, by Robin Sharma? I will request all of you to read that book, Monk Who Sold Ferrari, by Robin Sharma. That was exactly my story. And at the tender age of 34, 35, I was diagnosed with cardiac issues. What was the reason? Stress. And the worst part is, we feel stress is good. Either I die wealthy or I live healthy. And I chose to live healthy. And then I started doing all this. Okay, what are the symptoms? जैसे आपको stress आएगा, there will be certain symptoms that will come to you. At the physical level, your heartbeat will increase, palpitation, your eyeballs will dilate, you will start developing cold sweat in the palm and in the feet. Cold sweat आया मतलब समझ लो you are on a very high stress level. Digestive disorders, constipation, loose motions, sleep disorder, unexplained muscular pain. At the emotional level, the person starts to remain lonely. उसको लोगों से मिलना अच्छा नहीं लगता. Keeps on having worrying thoughts, fears, lack of motivation, and very irritated by nature. आपने देखा कई लोग इतने irritated होते हैं, आप कुछ भी बोलो irritated ही हो जाते हैं. Highly stressed people. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is wrong with him. He needs to be cured. At the intellectual level, loss of memory, concentration lapse, irrationality. लोग इतने irrational हो जाते हैं कि आप मान नहीं सकोगे. I had this patient. She did not come out of her room for 3 years because she feared the moment she will come out of the room, she will die. High element of stress and repetitive. एक ही एक बात बोलते ही जाएंगे. At professional level, low productivity, bad team player, bad interpersonal relations, unable to take right decisions. जब भी ये symptoms आए, please understand you are in stress and you need to do something about it. So what happens when you are in stress? The mind perceives the threat, which triggers the animal instinct, which is fight or flight, adrenal gland. Adrenal increases and prepares the body. Heartbeat increases to give you more oxygen, to give you more energy. Blood pressure increases. Breathing becomes fast and shallow. Metabolism rate increases. Stomach readies for digesting food. Lot of acid secretion in the stomach. Overload on the excretory system. Your kidneys are in strain. Your bladder are in strain. Your liver is in strain. Imbalanced endocrinial system. Imbalanced emotion. And again the mind perceives threat. One day someone asked His Holiness Dalai Lama, what is the thing that you find most amusing in humans? इंसान में तुम्हें सबसे ज्यादा हंसने वाली चीज कौन सी नजर आती है? His Holiness Dalai Lama said, एक इंसान जिंदगी का पहला हाफ अपनी हेल्थ सैक्रिफाइस करके पैसा कमाता है और दूसरा हाफ वही पैसा खर्चा करता है वह हेल्थ कमाने के लिए. यानी एट द एंड ऑफ द लाइफ जहां से शुरू किया था वहीं पर रहना. ओके, आर यू नाउ अंडरस्टैंडिंग द सीरियसनेस ऑफ स्ट्रेस? लेट्स नाउ अंडरस्टैंड द सॉल्यूशन. सिंपैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम को सॉल्व करने के सिर्फ 2 ही तरीके हैं. अंडरस्टैंडिंग, काउंसलिंग, assessment of reality, talk to someone who can actually guide you. और पैरासिम्पैथेटिक नर्वस सिस्टम को ठीक करने का 3 ही रास्ता है: एक्सरसाइज, योगा, डाइट कंट्रोल and happy experiences. So in 7 days, you would be covering all these aspects of stress. What yogic exercises you will do, what food you will eat, what food you will... I will be covering it at a very superficial level, at a very broad level. But in the 7 days, you guys will go in detail. This is a technique where again I have a copyright. I call this brain technique, which is notice, imagine what worst can happen, ask what can be the solution, gather all resources for the solution. If you have no resources, then accept reality. I had this patient, she came from Kerala. This lady had 2 sons. The first son was cardiologist. At the age of 32, one night, he went to his room and he never got up. Imagine what would be happening to the mother. They tried everything, nothing worked. They took antidepressants, they took everything, anti-anxiety, nothing worked. Now tell me, इस पेशेंट को आप कैसे ठीक करोगे? क्या आप उस बच्चे को वापस ला सकते हो जो मर चुका है? That's a major problem. I tried everything on this patient, nothing worked. This lady could not sleep for more than 1 hour in the night. बेचारे की पूरी आंखें अंदर चली गई थी, काली काली हो गई थी. Her weight from 68 kilo became 36 kilos in span of 1 year. Nothing worked for her. कैसे है यार? माँ का दिल है, 32 साल का बेटा मरा है. Amount of stress on her. And we doctors also, we try we also do lot of experiments. एक दिन मैंने कहा चलिए हम एक करते हैं. We went into her subconscious in the trance and I said चलिए आपका जो बेटा मर गया है उसको हम जाके मिलते हैं. Let's go and meet the son who's died. Because it's universe, soul energy cannot be destroyed. Our Hindu religion says what? Muslim religion says what? Energy cannot be created, energy cannot be destroyed. That means the energy of that sun is there in the universe. चलो उसको जाके मिल के आते हैं. The lady actually went and met the son who had taken birth in some different galaxy on some different planet. And the son told her, Mother, my karma with you is over. I have moved on with my life. Why are you stuck with your life? दीक्षित साहब मुझे नहीं पता ये रियलिटी है या ये इल्यूजन है. Next day, the lady started sleeping for 8 hours. In 3 months' time, she put on 15 kilos. What I did? All I did was, I made her accept reality in the language she would understand. अगर आप चीजों को सॉल्व कर सकते हो तो जाके सॉल्व करो, और अगर नहीं कर सकते हो तो स्वीकार लो. अगर आप ये 2 चीजें करते हैं तो आप कभी स्ट्रेस में नहीं आएंगे. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम सुधारते भी नहीं हैं और हम स्वीकारते भी नहीं हैं. Neither we change nor we accept is the root cause of. In the workshops, what we do is we make group of 2 people and we do this entire exercise for their stress, which is operational in life. And we also take them in the trance and make them do this exercise. But here, since we are short of time, I just wanted to explain you the concept. This is again another concept where I have my copyright. There are various states of consciousness: beta level, alpha level, theta level, delta level. Beta level पे your thoughts are more than 15 per minute. At alpha level it is 10, at theta level it is 5, and at delta level it is 2. Suddenly during my research I found out this can be correlated to stress. At stress you are in beta level or you are in super beta level. जो लोग हमारे ट्रीटमेंट में आते हैं they are not in beta state, they are in super beta state, more than 50 thought cycles. So somehow if you can reduce your thoughts, you reduce your stress. You don't believe me? There is one doctor who has spent his entire life on this. He is doing his research on this. Let's see his video.
Using modern technology, Benson is trying to understand how meditation appears to reverse the body's natural stress response.
What we are finding is that for centuries upon centuries, people had discovered that there's something they could do to counteract the harmful effects of stress.
Benson named it the relaxation response. It's the body's innate ability to lower blood pressure, reduce heart rate, and slow breathing.
We are fortunate that we have within us a response opposite to the fight or flight response. That is the relaxation response. And there are scores of techniques.
But in all of them, 2 steps are needed. The first is a repetition, a word, a sound, a movement. The second is freeing your mind of thought by concentrating on that repetition. And everyone can do it. The relaxation response can be triggered by all kinds of activity, from the repetition of a prayer to the primal beat of dancing. Even the rhythm of exercise can reverse the harmful effects of stress. So how does it work? At an MRI facility in Boston, Herbert Benson's colleague Sarah Lazar is looking inside the brain for an answer. Her subject is a Tai Chi master, Ramel Ronez. He has over 20 years of meditation experience. Ramel has been fitted with equipment to monitor his body temperature and breathing.
What are we doing now?
We're going to do the meditation scan now. So you're going to lie there quietly for a few minutes, and then you're going to begin the meditation.
As Ramel begins his meditation, the MRI scanner takes a series of snapshots inside his brain. Over the next 10 minutes, Ramel will try to empty his mind of thought.
What I was trying to do is focus on my breath slowly, because the breath is nothingness, is empty, is a vacuum. And by doing that, you try to empty your mind from any worries and thoughts, and hopefully reach a deep level of relaxation.
So what I'm going to tell you now is, if you can somehow reduce your thoughts, you can reduce your stress. If you can shift from beta level of consciousness to delta level of consciousness, you reduce your stress. And the moment you migrate from beta level to alpha, to theta, to delta, your focus or your concentration improves. So the best way to tackle stress is reduce your thoughts. इस वक्त आप यहाँ पर बैठे हो, कितने जन अपने ऑफिस में घूम के आ गए इधर बैठे बैठे? कितने जन अपने घर में घूम के आगे बैठे बैठे? More thoughts, more stress. I'm sure Dixit sir will be taking all this in his lectures. Simple technique which will reduce your stress. Simply get aware of your breath. करें सिर्फ 1 मिनट करें. It will just take a minute. Can we just do it? Just 1 minute. Alright. Get into whatever position you are comfortable in. I am not a yoga master, so I can take those liberties. जैसे भी आपको बैठना है बैठिए. Something that makes you comfortable. जिनको आंख बंद करनी है आंख बंद करिए. जिनको आंख खुली रखनी है खुली रखिए. Don't take stress. Take a nice deep breath in and release. Another nice deep breath in and release. And now you will take breath on the count of 5. So I will count from 1 to 5. On the count you will take breath in, and on the count of 1 to 5 you will take your breath out. Alright. Take your breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just observe your thought. Feel the air going into your nostrils, into your nose, into your throat, into your chest, into your diaphragm. And feel the same air coming out of your diaphragm, chest, throat, nose and nostril. Just observe the process of breathing and breathe out. If you will do this process very well, when you will take breath in, you will get a cool sensation on the tip of your nose, and when you will breathe out, you will get warm sensation on the tip of your nostrils. Just observe that. When you were doing this process, कितने जनों को अपनी ऑफिस की याद आई when you were doing this process? That means barring 2, majority of you reduced your thoughts. That means all of you shifted from beta state somewhere down. Where did your stress go? It just vanished. Even for a temporary moment of 2 minutes, you went to a state of stresslessness. अगर आप ये जिंदगी में 24 घंटे कर सकते हो तो I have devised some techniques. What I do is, whenever I walk, I do Om Namah Shivaya. जब लेफ्ट फुट आगे लेता हूं ऐसे ओम, जब राइट फुट आगे लेता हूं आई डू नमः शिवाय. ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय. दूसरे थॉट्स आते ही नहीं है दिमाग में. That is how I remain in the state of constant stresslessness. And when you can train your mind to think less, your concentration improves. And you get into that state of peace. The next method, I am sure you guys will be taking this, Pratyahar method, progressive relaxation. You will experience it during the course of these 7 days. In my book, Health the Complementary Way, I have written about Jinshin Jutsu. I am just going to take 2 minutes and just explain this to you. This will actually start making wonders to you. What Jinshin Jutsu says is, your hand signifies your mental state and the physical state. Thumb signifies worry, index finger signifies fear, middle finger signifies anger, ring finger signifies grief, and small finger signifies pretense. And the middle of the hand signifies confusion. अगर आपका नेचर वरी का है तो आपका स्टमक और स्प्लीन खराब होगा. अगर आपका नेचर फियर का है तो आपका किडनी और ब्लैडर खराब होगा. अगर आपका नेचर एंगर का है तो you will have problems of liver and gallbladder. If you have problem of grief, you will have problem of lungs and large intestine. And if you have problems of pretense, you will have problem of heart and small intestine. मतलब जिसको भी हार्ट अटैक आया हुआ है, basically he has a nature of pretense. All brain related diseases is on account of confusion. So what Jinshin, and please understand now, we have treated patients with terminal diseases using this. मतलब जिनको बोला है कि ये 3 महीने से ज्यादा नहीं जिएगा, even they get healed by doing this. It's so simple but so effective. मान लीजिए आपको लंग की प्रॉब्लम है, that means आपकी कौन सी फिंगर ट्रबल में है? अगर आपको किडनी का डिसऑर्डर है तो आपकी कौन सी फिंगर ट्रबल में है? अगर आपको स्टमक का प्रॉब्लम है, that means your hand signifies your mental and physical state. Chakra balancing and Jinshin Jitsu works on the parallel philosophy. So what you do is hold each finger minimum for 3 minutes twice a day. अगर आपको लंग का ट्रबल है तो होल्ड द लंग फिंगर फॉर मिनिमम 3 minutes twice a day. अगर आपको स्टमक का प्रॉब्लम है, होल्ड द फिंगर फॉर 3 minutes twice a day. इनफैक्ट जिसको हेल्दी रहना है उसने क्या करना है, सारी फिंगर्स पकड़ो, अपने कौन से पैसे लगते हैं. When you are watching TV, you see it. When you are traveling, you do it. When you are watching TV, when you are in the meeting, do it. 3 मिनट पकड़ के रखो, twice a day. एक फिंगर एक हैंड करने को 15 मिनट और ये छठा या 18 मिनट, दूसरा हाथ करने से और 18 मिनट, 18 मिनट 36 मिनट. एक राउंड करने को आपको 36 मिनट लगेगा. एक सास बहू का सीरियल 36 मिनट तो चलता होगा. आपका हेल्प भी हो गया, बॉस फायरिंग के लिए बुलाया, एंगर को दबा के रखो, गुस्सा नहीं होना है. You are traveling in the train, bus, do it no. And those who feel, there are a lot of Mahanubhavs who come and tell me, डॉक्टर 36 मिनट तो हम नहीं निकाल सकते हैं. तो उनके लिए फिर अलग टेक्निक, we have designed another technique. Hold each finger just for 3 breaths. Just for 3 breaths. But this you will do 7 times a day. अब चॉइस आपकी है, you want to do it twice a day or you want to do it 7 times a day. But it's actually very easy. Even while I was doing this lecture, I have done that round 2 times and you have not even noticed. जब मैं लेक्चर दे रहा हूं तभी भी मैं पकड़ के बैठा हूं. This works wonders. Your physical and mental health suddenly will improve. How to hold it? Hold it like this. Hold it like this. Take a hand and hold it like this. बहुत कड़क भी नहीं है कि खून रुक जाए. But it should be firm. If you read my book, it's all explained. These are also available on YouTube. Just ask me the YouTube link, I will give you each one of them. ये सारा मैंने डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया है. Palm is like this. Yes, please.
I just want to say, like, body for the actual artist experience of the thing. But I guess pretense is something we might not admit actually.
Absolutely. But you will admit to yourself. आप गए रिक्शा से, फ्रेंड ने पूछा कैसे आए? अरे शोफर छोड़ के गया. You know, the very fact that you have blood pressure, मतलब जीवन में कहीं ना कहीं चला हुआ. Pretense. See, this is your internal thing.
How does it work?
How does it work? See, what happens is, if you read my book, it's all explained. What happens is, अगर आप देखो, acupressure में सारे points हैं. How it works on the points? Similarly, when you do this, you suddenly release the energy lock in the body. There are 26 energy locks in the body. Those energy locks get released when you do this. And it starts. Exercise, you would be covering it. Alright. Something that your naturopath will be covering during these lectures. I am speaking specifically from medical perspective. What is the food that is best for anti-stress? Vitamin complex C and vitamin complex B are most essential anti-stressors. Vitamin C you get from oranges, amla and lemon. Vitamin B5 complex you get from whole grain and water containing fruits. Vitamin B6 complex you get from water containing fruits and raw vegetables. There are 2 minerals which are anti-stressors, magnesium and zinc. Magnesium you get in spinach, almond and wheat germs, gaun ka jwara. And zinc you only get in pista. No wonder pista is so expensive. That serotonin is present in banana skin, orange skin and cottage cheese, paneer. आप में से कितने जन जैन हो? जैन आप लोग पता है कच्चे केले का साग बनाते हो छिलके के साथ, क्यों? Because it contains serotonin. आप में से कितने गुजराती हो? ઊંધિયું ખાते हो? ઊંધિયું में કાચા કેળા નાખે છાલ જોડે કેમ? Serotonin. How many of you are Christians here? Why do you eat orange marmalade? And what is that orange marmalade made up of? Because our forefathers knew कि इनको अगर स्ट्रेस से बचाना है तो ये सब इनको खिलाना पड़ेगा. जिसको भी स्ट्रेस है, बनाना की स्किन होती है ना, जस्ट बॉइल इट, कट द एंड्स, उसको ग्राइंड कर दो और फिर उसको दाल में डाल के खाओ, सब्जी में डाल के खाओ, रोटी में डाल के खाओ.
Raw banana skin?
Raw banana skin. Or even ripe banana skin. It's the same. Avoid caffeine, alcohol. Drink minimum 2.5 liters of water. It's all covered in my book. You can read it if you wish to. Alright. There are certain points which are on acupressure which triggers production of serotonin. Okay, so what you do is, there are certain points which are anti-stress points. Those points are pituitary pineal hypothalamus. That means these points. See where the arrow is. And then you have adrenal gland. That is where the point is. Are you able to see the arrow? So here and here. So how you do it is, so what you do is, you hold very like this and then you press like this. Like this. Wear it in the thumb, take it on your top, and where you are pressing, take it bottom. So gravitational force will work. You have two. You can say mine as well. Hold it like this and then press like this. Press it like this. You get it?
This the tooth part should be down.
The tooth part should be down. Because that's where you are going to press. So you are going to press it like this. कितने जनों को दुखा? How many of you got pain when you are doing? Because there is something wrong with the brain. Stress. And then you have adrenal gland, which is here. Here. So press it like this. Adrenal gland देखो ना. Oh, you cannot see. So here. So press it like this. Okay?
How many times you have to press?
Yes. If you see the slide, it's written down. 5 minutes each point, twice a day. 5 minutes each point, twice a day. So यहाँ पर 5 मिनट, both the hands. Here 5 minutes, here 5 minutes, and here 5 minutes. Okay? This is the point that I have discovered where I have my patent. That is this point. In the leg, the middle finger, the bottom of the middle finger. In the leg, the middle finger and the bottom of that middle finger. This is the serotonin point. If you massage this point for 5 minutes with pressure, it is equivalent to taking one antidepressant. Within 5 minutes, it will release serotonin to your brain. The middle finger, the end of middle finger. Alright? pain, huh? Pain like crazy. I mean, in our workshop we generally demonstrate all this. It will actually pain. Like if I do it to you, you will scream. Itna dukega. And then you keep on rubbing. It will take 3 months, 6 months. It will slowly subside. Okay? We have a video.
So you're having a little bit of stress in your life. I think that's one of the common things with society today. Hi, my name is Mark Brinson. I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine, physical medicine, and human performance specialist. Stress can come from a variety of different things, and basically it happens when you start to live an imbalanced life. Making sure that you get in regular food, get in some light exercise, and especially good sleeping patterns and good balance patterns in life is very important. And when I say balance, making time for not only work, but making time for your family, making time for yourself, as in hobbies, all lead towards less stress, less cortisol levels, making it easier for you to maintain weight. So if you want a few things that can boost that, a little alone time, maybe 5 minutes to do a little acupressure routine, can help significantly. I'm going to give you a couple of points, but I'm also going to give you a general technique that you can use that stimulates a channel that may help with this. One of the points that's very, very good for overall stress, mental acuity, and balancing the body is Do 20, which is located directly on the top of the head. When you were a baby, this is where the sutures met. You're going to give it a stimulation directly downward and do this for 30 seconds to a minute. From there, you can move to a point called Stomach 36. Stomach 36 is located at the bump of the knee, just lateral or to the outside, in the belly of the muscle there, the anterior tibialis. Giving this a little bit of stimulation or providing a little bit of heat to it can significantly help with stress of all types as well. Now, if you're finding yourself needing to calm down a little bit more, there's even greater stress, you can very gently do a stroking motion on the center of the chest or the sternum, the breastbone, in a downward direction. Light, easy, for 30 seconds to a minute. The combination of these points can help to reduce stress, but also remember lifestyle is very important. Make time for the things in your life that are important, but also make sure that you make time for yourself. Try to lead a balanced life. My name is Mark Brinson, wishing you every success and balance.
On acupressure, so maybe we'll do it next time. The last point that I want to show you, and this is where I have done my research. The way environment gives you stress. There are 2 doctors who have spent their lives in just understanding this aspect. They have discovered that हमारा जो chromosomes होता है, the chromosomes, on the top of the chromosome there is something which is called telemeter, and with stress the telemeter depletes. जिस दिन that telemeter depletes, the person dies. So they have been doing this research since last 30 years on African monkeys as well as humans. And this video I am going to show you how to combat it. And they have said the only thing that will restore your telemeters is compassion. What is the meaning of the term compassion? The meaning of the term compassion is sharing your pain with an intention of reducing it. The meaning of compassion is sharing your pain with an intention of reducing it. Compassion is the only method how you can restore your telemeters on the chromosomes. So let's watch that video and then we conclude today's lecture.
One of the most interesting new directions of stress research is taking the effects of stress down to a nuts and bolts level of how cells work, how genes work, that half a dozen years ago nobody could have imagined.
The once unimaginable genetic structures called telomeres, which protect the ends of our chromosomes from fraying. as we age, our telomeres shorten.
What's interesting is stress, by way of stress hormones, can accelerate the shortening of telomeres. So the assumption is for the exact same aged guys, if you're a low-ranking guy who's just marinating in stress hormones, your telomeres are going to be shorter.
So how does this formidable finding apply to us? San Rafael, California. Once a week, Janet Lawson keeps a very important appointment. She joins other mothers who share circumstances that produce chronic, unremitting stress.
But she loses her balance, and that's the scary part. So we just went out actually last night and bought a new helmet just for fun.
I found that as she's getting older and wanting more independence, it's getting harder.
Each of these women is mother to a disabled child.
And for us, my son's only 8, and there's enough I can handle, and I don't allow myself to go too much out. I can't.
I had a friend recently who said to me, you know, I think you really should consider putting Lexi in a home. And that was really stressful in and of itself to think, wow. So, sorry.
No, don't be sorry, hon.
So it's like, wow, how could you even say that? She's, you know, a little girlfriend. She's, even though she can't really communicate, she loves.
She loves.
She loves.
Loves life.
She loves.
These remarkable women came to the attention of biologist Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn.
I didn't directly know the individuals, but I know the stories. I'm a mother myself, and so when I heard about this cohort, I really thought it was worthwhile finding out what really is happening at the heart of the cells in these mothers who are doing such a difficult thing for such a long time.
Dr. Blackburn is a leader in the field of telomere research.
We have 46 chromosomes, and they're capped off at each end by telomeres. Nobody knew in humans whether telomeres and their fraying down over life would be affected by chronic stress. And so we decided we would look at this cohort of chronically stressed mothers, and we decided to ask what's happening to their telomeres and to the maintenance of their telomeres. What we found was the length of the telomeres directly relates to the amount of stress somebody is under and the number of years that they've been under the stress.
Such stressed mothers became the focus of a study by Dr. Blackburn's colleague, psychologist Alyssa Eppel.
Mothers of young children are a highly stressed group. They're often balancing competing demands like work and child rearing, and often don't have time to take care of themselves. So if you add on top of that the extra burden of caring for a child with special needs, it can be overwhelming. It can tax the very reserves that sustain people. And if they're stressed, if they report stress, they tend to die earlier.
These women have shortened telomeres, decreased activity of this enzyme, and very, very rough number, for every year you were taking care of a chronically ill child, you got roughly 6 years worth of aging.
This is real. This is not just somebody whining. This is real, medically serious aging going on, and we can see that it's actually caused by the chronic stress.
But there is hope. Dr. Blackburn co-discovered an enzyme, telomerase, that can repair the damage.
It's what I always call it, the threat of hope.
Preliminary data suggests that a meeting of minds such as this may actually have a health benefit by stimulating the healing effects of telomerase.
About it.
And laugh.
And laugh.
If you don't laugh, forget it. You can't handle it.
What I found is that the humor is something, there's a certain level of black humor that we have about our kids that only we appreciate. We're the only ones who get the jokes, and in a way, we're the only ones who are allowed to laugh at the jokes.
One of the questions in the stress field is, what are the active ingredients that reduce stress and that promote longevity? And compassion and caring for others may be one of those most important ingredients. So those may be the factors that promote longevity and increase telomerase and keep our cells rejuvenating and regenerating.
So perhaps connecting with and helping others can help us to mend ourselves and maybe even live longer, healthier lives.
Let me conclude this lecture only by saying if you choose to live your life with selfish approach, you are in for stress. And if you choose to live your life with compassion, you will remain stress-free. Thank you so much.